Hi, everyone. Welcome to All Things Fulbright U.S. Student Program for RISD artists and designers. The Fulbright U.S. Student Program provides 6 to 12-month fully funded grants abroad for graduating students and recent graduates to conduct individually designed research projects, enroll in graduate school, or teach English. I'm Lisa Kramer. I'm RISD's Fulbright Program Advisor, or FPA. Fulbright is an intense process. My job is to make it more exciting rather than overwhelming, and to help you understand the process and mission so you learn and grow from each step. I'm here to help you at all stages of the application cycle to pull all the pieces together into a compelling proposal, no matter your discipline or project content. Fulbright is also a long process. To briefly outline the timeline, you will start working on this in the winter or spring, maybe even earlier. Things will intensify during the summer as you pull all the pieces together. You will submit early fall. Then the following spring, you are notified of the decision. Grants begin late summer or fall, a year after you submitted, or even the winter of the next year for some countries. Once you start the application process, the grant is a good year away. So if you're intending to apply this year, great. Consider that you will need to set some time aside for Fulbright between spring through September. If you're interested in next year or the year after, also great. It is never too early to start thinking about Fulbright. Some can pull this off in 5 to 6 months, but many take 1 to 2 years to develop their proposal. In any case, you're here now, and you will learn a great deal no matter how far you go in the Fulbright exploration. So about Fulbright. The mission is to foster mutual understanding between nations, advance knowledge across communities, and improve lives around the world. It was created by Congress in 1946 to promote international goodwill through the exchange of students in the fields of education, culture, and science. It is sponsored by the U.S. Department of State's Bureau for Education and Cultural Affairs. It is administered in the U.S. by the Institute of International Education, IIE, and it is administered overseas by binational commissions and U.S. embassies. This is a government grant, which you should keep in mind as you consider your audience. It is also very important that you always keep in mind that Fulbright is at heart about meaningful cross-cultural exchange. This grant is open to graduating seniors and fifth-year students. You may begin the application process in your junior year or fourth year, but won't be able to submit an application until the fall of your senior year or fifth year. It is open to graduate students and to recent graduates. Know that you can apply through RISD up to 3 years after graduation. You must be a U.S. citizen by the application deadline, have a bachelor's degree by the start of the grant, be proficient in the language of the host country, and have limited experience in the host country. For most programs, applicants who've had extensive recent experience in the host country or extensive foreign experience may be at a competitive disadvantage, but you are still eligible to apply. Plus, there are unique country-specific requirements. Know that diversity and inclusion are cornerstone principles of Fulbright. Fulbright's goal is to have a program that represents the diversity that makes up the U.S. There are 2 main grants. The Study Research Grant, which is independent research, study, or arts projects abroad for 6 to 12 months, offered in 140 countries. English teaching assistantships are an opportunity for you to help teach English and U.S. culture in a classroom for 8 to 10 months, offered in 75 countries. I'm going to focus on the Study Research Grant, as that is what most RISD students are interested in. But know that we are happy to help you with an ETA application too. Keep in mind, though, that the ETA opportunity comes with the expectation that you have experience in teaching, experience working with non-native English speakers, specific teaching ideas and methods, and can make clear connections as to why teaching English will support your long-term goals. If you are applying for a study research grant in the creative arts, you will need a well-developed project and/or study plan that improves your craft, which means art and design making needs to be central in the study, research, and outcome. You will need to make your case for participating, learning, and growing as an artist. You need to develop and document a host country affiliation relationship. This might be with a university, research think tank, lab, library, community organization, or nonprofit, in which you receive mentorship and critique, maybe access to facilities or equipment. Perhaps you're taking a class or a workshop. Plus, you could be supporting their class or research, or assisting in a production or conference. You will need a compelling visual portfolio that supports your proposed grant activities. Consider that the portfolio will be reviewed by you as artists and designers and host country experts who are likely not all artists and designers. You need to include meaningful host country community engagement and have a high level of academic, professional, and/or artistic achievement, and demonstrated leadership, flexibility, adaptability, and openness. What are the award benefits? Round-trip airfare, a monthly stipend, accident and sickness benefit, and other possible benefits depending on the host country. Once you return from a Fulbright experience, you'll have gained new skills, perspectives, and insights that will influence you for the rest of your life, along with Fulbright being a great opportunity to build your network overseas. One of the most common questions about benefits is, can I defer my loans while I'm on a Fulbright grant for a year? And the answer is yeah. What does the Fulbright project look like? It is so hard to define. There are many variables, from your skills and interests to your affiliate's area of expertise. And there are 140 countries, each with their own interests and requirements. The possibilities are endless, but there are basically 3 broad types with lots of gray area in between. Independent study research is the traditional Fulbright award in which you design a project from beginning to end that allows you to work with people of the host country to mutually advance in your field of interest. Some countries offer graduate enrollment as an option. In this case, the program, activities, and outcomes are set. It's graduate study. However, this can be tricky as you have to make a strong case for this isn't just about funding for graduate study. Why is this a Fulbright? What is the meaningful cross-cultural exchange? Why this country? How is this something you can't do in the US? It is important that you make your case for how your exploration goes beyond the institution of graduate study. And for most countries, you also have to be accepted to the university program, usually a separate process. This is what most RISD Fulbrighters do, hybrids. Most have some connection to a university, academy, or institution in which there is some structured class or workshop learning, perhaps as a guest student, plus some sort of independent mission, a burning question, something guiding your exploration. Usually to do this effectively, RISD applicants have secondary affiliates, which get them out into the community exploring, practicing, and applying their skills and learning. Let's move on to Fulbright resources. The Fulbright website is extensive. Everything you need is there, but because there's so much to navigate, I'm going to give you a tour and highlight the most important pages for you to review. First, be sure you're on the Fulbright US Student Program website, not the Fulbright Scholars website or a host country's Fulbright website. Make sure it says US Student at the top. Probably the most exciting pages are the country information and requirements found here by region. For example, let's look at the Philippines. Here you'll find the award profile and grant length, anything in particular they are looking for in candidates, such as discipline, area of focus, or degree level. Of course, you'll want to check out the language requirement right away. Any restrictions or preferences on affiliation will be listed on this page, and you may find a link to the host country website with additional country-specific resources. You may be able to find an email to an actual human you can reach out to. Process information is found under the Applicant tab, Application Component. Choose the grant, Creative and Performing Arts. Here you will find each application component with drop-downs that include considerable details on instructions and tips. Visual material requirements are found under Supplemental Materials. The visual materials are not supplementary, they are required and very important. Click on the link to the required materials. You get to a list of Fulbright disciplines with drop-downs to the requirements for each. You will have to choose a discipline. There is no multidiscipline option. It's not that you can't have a multidisciplinary project or practice, but because there are so many applicants, they do have to put you in categories. So you will have to choose what best fits your project and consider your audience. The link to the online application, which opens in early April, is found here. Fulbright offers websites April through October under the Applicants tab under Information Sessions. These are 1-hour sessions in which you will hear from Fulbright experts and hear questions from your peers around the country. They even have webinar office hours by region where you can ask specific questions about your country. It is important that you listen to at least a couple of these. I listen to 8 to 10 every year and I learn a little something new each time. It is also important that you hear from Fulbright directly to confirm what I'm telling you and to provide you with new perspectives. If you see one you are really interested in but miss it, make note. Then go to recorded webinars to listen in. You will also find webinars from the previous year here. I am often an applicant's first go-to, but know that Fulbright program officers who work for IIE are there to help too. Sometimes I don't know the country-specific answer. There are 140 countries, so it will be best that you email or call the program officer directly. Their contact information can be found by going to Contacts in tiny white font at the bottom of the page. Also, in tiny white font at the bottom, you will find a link to a page of interesting statistics. You will find applicants and awards for each country. I did the math here, and in 2022-2023, 35.3% of study research projects were awarded for the Czech Republic and 12.8% for New Zealand. By no means should statistics solely guide your choice. If you are passionate about a country and your project is a great fit for that country, don't look at the statistics. But if you are open, the statistics may help you make a decision. You may want to poke around in the statistics and consider a less competitive country. Obviously, English-speaking countries are more competitive. The UK is by far the most competitive. If you speak another language, consider how that might be an advantage. If you don't speak another language, consider a country like Latvia or Norway with no language requirement, or Laos or Malaysia that have a more flexible language requirement. Learning some of the language is still important to these countries, but because their language is not commonly taught in the US, they are more flexible. Also in statistics, you will find a link to the top producing institutions. RISD students and alumni do very well in this competition, and RISD is a Fulbright top producing institution with 109 awardees who've explored their creative projects in 42 different countries. Under the Alumni tab, you will find a grantee directory with Fulbright alumni across the country in all disciplines. I did a search on sculpture in India, which resulted in 13 Fulbrighters. There is not a lot of information on each Fulbrighter here, but the directory may help give you some project idea leads or help you determine the country's interests, and maybe even lead you to someone to contact. Fulbrighters are often happy to talk to applicants about their experience. But when looking for Fulbright artists for inspiration or support, I suggest you start at the RISD Careers website. Scroll down to learn more about Fulbright and then to the RISD Fulbright Showcase. You will get to a site of RISD Fulbrighters. 46 RISD Fulbrighters are on this site. In stories, you can read about their projects and you can connect with them through their website or see what they're up to on their Instagram. In the Experience Gallery, you can see some great photos of their lives and the people they worked with while on the Fulbright grant. And in the Artwork Gallery, you can see both what they submitted to receive the grant and the results of their project. This website is a great place to go for inspiration and make connections. But for the nitty-gritty, how does this actually happen for RISD students? Go back to the Fulbright section of the RISD Careers website. There are two very important documents to guide your process: the checklist and deadline, and getting started. First, though, consider, will you be applying through RISD? If enrolled or an alum who graduated in the past 3 years, you have the option to apply through RISD. But you're welcome to apply on your own, which Fulbright calls at large, and it is not seen as a disadvantage by Fulbright in any way. Know that the pro to applying through RISD is you'll receive intensive support throughout the process. But the con may be you must follow RISD's internal deadline. We require that you submit in mid-August in order to receive feedback, have time for fine-tuning, and resubmit. Fulbright's national deadline is early October. Our internal deadlines are in place so we can effectively, efficiently, and fairly support you all through the process, but they are also in place for your benefit. We know from past experience that applicants who start late really struggle and then decide to wait until next year, which is fine. Lots of applicants have false starts and come back stronger the next year. This is RISD's checklist and deadline, which you saw earlier. This is just the first page of this document, a visual look at the deadline. This document goes on to provide additional milestones for each application component. This document will help guide your process. Be sure to check out this document on the website for exact date, but know that the first deadline is the Kickstart meeting in mid to late May, where you confirm your intent and country choice, and we ensure you are ready to go. The second deadline is your first draft, due early June, and the first submit, if you're applying through RISD, is mid-August. Keep in mind, summer can be very challenging considering that many countries have a culture of long holidays in the summer, and holiday means a real break. You may find that affiliate contacts are not available, particularly mid-July to early September. And we strongly encourage you to submit documents before the deadlines. This will provide you with early reviews, meaning more time to redraft, incorporate feedback, fine-tune, and move on to your next draft or another application component. The second important document is the RISD Getting Started. You are going to want to jump into this document. This is the index page. The first thing you'll notice is that it's really long, but consider that this is a condensed version of everything for RISD artists and designers in one place, with guidance based on our experience working with many applicants over the years. This is your resource. Take the time to read it over once and then use it as a reference throughout the process. The RISD Getting Started document walks you through each application component with detailed advice. Plus, it has valuable information on how to work with me, what makes you a strong candidate, what makes a competitive proposal. So what are the components? Affiliation. Applicants must find and arrange their affiliation. Countries have specific requirements, but it is usually with a university, nonprofit, or research think tank. It cannot be a for-profit company. Applicants must build the relationship and then document the nature of the relationship in a letter. Yes, this can be hard and take time, so start early. Just do it. Don't wait for the perfect draft or perfect project idea. Who your affiliate is, what they can offer, what they would like in return will affect your project ideas and proposal. You want to work with your affiliate to develop your project. There are tips in the Getting Started document to help your search and develop your affiliation. We also have an email outreach template and actual affiliate letters we can review with you during advising appointments. Statement of grant purpose. This is a 2-page proposal outlining all the details and purpose of your project. Do consider that less is more. One thoughtful idea will be more effective than many. The purpose statement needs to be a clear and straightforward plan. You need a focused, unique direction to get busy reviewers on board. How do you do this? There are a number of tools to get you started on project development and writing. In the RISD Getting Started document under the application component statement of grant purpose, you can find these prompts to ensure you hit key content. This is, in a sense, a way to interview yourself. You can use these prompts as headers to help you focus, and then as your draft develops, you will delete and transition. In fact, I often use these as a checklist when I review your first draft. Feasibility is key. You will need a strong how plan section with details and a timeline. The how plan will be most of your second page. It is hard to imagine a project in another country that will take place in a year or more, but that is what you will have to do. Imagine and know that it is okay if that plan changes. You need a plan to help reviewers understand and visualize what you want to do and to get out the door. Personal statement. You have 1 page to talk about your path. How did you get to this point of applying for a Fulbright? This is where you can be more creative and show some personality. It could be anything, really. It is an introduction to you. Obviously, nothing too personal. Remember, this is a government grant, and it should be directly related to your project. Think of this as a 3rd page in connection to your purpose statement. This is a great place for critical reflection. Fulbright loves critical reflection and seeing that you have an awareness of your arc of growth. What did you try, learn, then realize? And how did that change your perspective, lead you to new questions and next steps? This is also a place for examples and stories rather than a listing like a resume. Deep reflection of one story in your path is better than a list. For both the purpose and personal statement, consider in the Getting Started document the section on what makes a competitive proposal. For each of these green bullets, you will find a detailed description of what Fulbright is looking for. Read this now at the beginning and keep referring back to it as you develop your proposal. In addition, continue asking yourself the 2 big important questions. First, why this country? Beyond the institution you will be working with, if you picked up this project for Singapore and moved it to Japan, is it the same thing? How is it unique to Singapore? Second, how will this experience improve your craft? Beyond inspiration or a new place to practice, what skills are you gaining to specifically improve your craft in this particular country? Language forms. Depending on the country, a language self-evaluation and a professional evaluation may be required or recommended. 3 recommendation letters are required. Choose wisely in terms of who will write a meaningful letter and who will be timely. At the application stage, unofficial transcripts are required, so you will need to collect these documents, scan them neatly, and upload them into the application. The online application is really long and includes 5 to 6 additional essays. Start this early. This is not a last-minute thing, and be neat and consistent in both content and in formatting. You want to have a strong application package from beginning to end. And finally, visual materials. I have this last, not because it isn't important. It is. It's extremely important. But you are the experts on this. You know how to do this well. I highly recommend you check out the Fulbright Arts Portfolio webinar found on Fulbright's recorded webinars page. And a few pointers. Follow the instructions. How many? Size, resolution, minutes. Make your case with effective high quality images. Consider every image counts. Every image should tell a story that supports your purpose and path. You can have some detail shots, maybe an installation shot, but no throwaways. Use collaged images sparingly. There can be a couple of collaged images where it makes sense, but too many is overwhelming and diminishes the look and feel of a whole piece as a single image. There really needs to be a reason for more than one view in an image, otherwise it seems like sneaking in additional pieces to gain an advantage. Make the connection to your grant project through your images. Your gallery-ready portfolio may not be the same as your project portfolio. Focus on the fit to your project. And consider your audience carefully. Your reviewers are not only artists. Use the image description space to help make your case. Not only title, size, and material, tell us more. This is your chance to make connections. This is your chance to show your preparedness, yet room for growth. This is your chance to tell your reviewers, especially your non-art reviewers, more about your process and ways of thinking. Take advantage of this space. Curate the order thoughtfully for a cohesive portfolio feel. A curated portfolio shows organized thinking and thoughtfulness. It shows you care about this opportunity. Be sure to start strong to capture their attention and make them want to see more. Be sure to end strong, as that last image will stay on their mind as they move to other parts of your application. And in a group review, that last image may stay up on the screen as they talk about your application. You want that image to be strong and connected to what you are proposing. And a final tip, print each image you are considering on half sheets of paper, tape them to a wall, stand back and really look at them, and then move them around to find that compelling flow. These portfolio tips can be found in an 8-minute video on the RISD Fulbright page. The final weeks can be fairly intense, so I'm going to walk you through the submission steps. If you are applying through RISD, you submit the complete application through the Fulbright online system by mid-August, but Fulbright is not looking at it at this point. I then arrange your RISD Fulbright interview, and don't worry, the interview is more fun than scary, and it can be very helpful. Know that RISD is not a gatekeeper. We submit all applications. The interview's purpose is to ensure that you're prepared to carry out your proposed project and provide an opportunity for you to receive additional feedback. After your interview, I unsubmit your application and you have a last chance for fine-tuning. This is the time for minor changes, not rewriting. Redevelopment after months of work doesn't usually work out well. This is the time to make careful, select changes to strengthen. Then you resubmit. I take a quick look to catch any errors. Then I hit my submit button to Fulbright and it's done. Art applications are first reviewed in the US by US experts by discipline, and semifinalist decisions are announced in January. Semifinalist applications then go to the host countries for review. And then host countries make their final decisions. Both governments approve, and then finalists are announced anytime between March and June, usually by the end of April. I've given you a lot of information and resources, but how do you get started? Grant writing is just as much about organization skills as it is about project development. Develop organizational tools based on your style to keep track of your research, drafts, and affiliate outreach, and set personal milestones to help you meet the deadline. Review the country summary pages, which is really exciting, and it is important to find out early on if there are restrictions, preferences, or special requirements. Start drafting your purpose and personal statements early. The first draft, the commitment in writing, and the feedback you receive, this is when things really take off. And find help. Ask for help. This is a complicated grant. Find people who will support your application process. Meet with me, but not only me. I'm only one voice in this process. Find someone in your discipline to guide your research and content. Find someone to give you feedback on your image choices. Get a professor on board. Maybe you can send them a draft or two during the summer. Reach out to the RISD Center for Arts and Language. They are an excellent resource for brainstorming or fine-tuning your proposal. Make use of the incredible resources at the RISD Library. And talk to RISD Global about where RISD might have connections in your host country. A word of advice on getting help. Get advice early in the process rather than so much at the end. At the beginning, all voices are important. At the end, your voice is important. Last-minute advice is dangerous. It can throw you off. Everyone will see something different. Well-intentioned advice can send you down a rabbit hole after months of hard work, and it's really hard to recover from that. And one more resource for you. On the RISD Fulbright page, scroll down to Tips from a RISD Fulbrighter. Click on Learn More, and you'll go to a document full of excellent insights and tips from RISD Fulbrighter to Brazil, Gail Foreman. I want to leave you with a reminder of the first deadline. Schedule your Kickstart meeting to take place by mid-May. You can make an appointment with me on the RISD Careers website. At some point, depending on the applicant pool, I'm only open for appointments with those applying this year. But RISD Career Advisors, Jason and Scott, will continue taking appointments for those interested in a future Fulbright application. First drafts are due early June. This is a draft, and there'll be many more. but it should be a serious, thoughtful draft, not an outline, not bullets, and in the correct format and page numbers, and proof for typos and grammar errors. You don't have to have all the answers for the first draft. Start pretending and imagining. The more thoughtful your drafts are, the deeper I can go in my review to provide feedback that will help you take it to the next level. Be sure to check out the Fulbright checklist and deadlines on the RISD Fulbright website for the exact date. And finally, it will not be a waste of time. I want to emphasize what an amazing experience Fulbright is. This is an incredibly competitive grant. It is important that you embark on this journey, understanding that the process itself is a valuable experience, from the research to developing relationships overseas, to writing to submitting. A Fulbright proposal is a lot of work, maybe the most intense proposal you will ever write. After a Fulbright application, other grants might seem easy. I look forward to working with you. Thank you, everyone.